Greetings, truth seekers, and welcome back to Truth Fed. The website is www.truthfed.com. I'm Sean, and I appreciate you joining me this morning. Today we're going to go through Daniel chapter 11. We've only got two more chapters left, 11 and 12, both prophetic. And then, of course, we're going to read two additional chapters out of the Septuagint, and we'll talk a little bit about the Septuagint here in like 2 weeks. So be looking forward to that. Now, chapter 11 is pretty long, and it's basically just descriptions of the kingdoms to come and the kings to come, and it kind of ends basically from verse 21 for sure, all the way to verse 45, talking about kind of the very end of days and the Antichrist. And then next week we'll read chapter 12, which isn't nearly as long, but it goes on to finish the book. Now, normally what I do is I just read, and we're going to be changing the format about how I do these studies, because normally what I'll do is I'll just read the whole chapter straight through, and then I'll do some commentary on it later. I think what I'm going to start doing is commentary while doing it. It just makes it easier. It makes it so I don't miss anything that I want to talk about, and things like that. So I hope that that's okay with you. So the first half of this chapter, you're basically just going to hear descriptions about kingdoms and the fall of kingdoms. Many scholars believe that a lot of this has already happened. I mean, if you read the Amplified Bible version, it speaks as if this stuff has already happened until it gets to verse 21, when it begins to talk about this vile person, this Antichrist person. We know that part of this is at least referring to the Antichrist, even though it's already happened, because Jesus himself points that out in the New Testament. So anyway, without further ado, because we have limited time, and it's kind of a long chapter, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Daniel chapter 11. Also, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now I will show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength through his riches he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. And a mighty king shall stand up that shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and he shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven, and not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion, which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others beside those. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. And in the end of the years they shall join themselves together, for the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the power of the arm, neither shall he stand, nor his arm. But she shall be given up, and they that brought her, he that begot her, and he that strengthened her in these times. But out of a branch of her roots shall one stand up in his estate, which shall come with an army, and shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail. And shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods, with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and gold, and he shall continue more years than the king of the north. So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return to his own land. But his son shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces. And one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through. Then shall he return, and he shall be stirred up, even to his fortress. The king of the south shall be moved with the choler, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the kings of the north. And he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. And when he hath taken away the multitude, his ear shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000s, but shall not be strengthened by it. For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army, and with much riches. And in those times many will stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come, and cast up a mount, and take the most fenced cities. And the arms of the south shall not withstand, neither his chosen people, neither shall there be any strength to withstand. But he that cometh against shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land, which by his hand shall be consumed. He shall also set his face to enter with strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do, and he shall give him the daughter of the women, corrupting her. But she shall not stand on her side, neither be for him. After this shall he return his face into the isles, and shall take many. But a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach he shall cause it to turn upon him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. Then shall stand up in his estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. Now we're getting ready to start verse 21. And like I said, if you were to read, let's say, the Amplified Bible, it would present all this information to you all the way through verse 20 as if it's already happened. It'll tell you the kingdoms that it's talking about and everything, and odds are it's probably fairly accurate. I've looked through it, but then when you get to verse 21, it kind of changes to future tense and even uses the word Antichrist, like I said, if you're looking at the Amplified version. So this is going to be a description, I believe, and most believe, of this last king. And so anyway, here we go, verse 21. And in his estate shall stand up with a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but shall come in peaceably and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. See, whoever becomes this world leader, he's not going to come in, by force. He's going to come in with flatteries, peace, and be promoted to this position. And we know from Revelation that the 10 kings will give up the kingdom in 1 hour to this individual. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown before him, and he shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. To me, when it talks about that, it seems like he's going to come from not a real, a lot of people think that he's coming from the United States. I disagree. I think he's going to come kind of out of nowhere. He shall enter peaceably even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey and spoil and riches. Yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table. But it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at an appointed time. Then shall he return into his land with great riches, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant, and he shall do exploits and return to his own land. At the time appointed he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Chittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, he shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. And his arm shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and they shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place an abomination that maketh desolate. Now Jesus talked about the abomination of desolation spoken about by Daniel the prophet. This is what Jesus is talking about. This is the event where he's telling the Jews, those in Judea, when you see this event take place, don't even go back for your cloak. Run for the mountains. Pretty strong language. Pray that it's not on the Sabbath. Pray that it's not winter. Pray that you're not nursing a child. Verse 32, and such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their Elohim shall be strong and do exploits. See, there's going to be people of God doing exploits and miracles. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame and by captivity, by spoil many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be hopeless with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to maketh them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for an appointed time. And the king shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against Elohim, the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor desire of women, nor regard of any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. So whatever the God of his ancestors is, wherever he comes from, he's not even going to regard that God. He's going to blaspheme against the one true God, Elohim, Yahweh. He's going to exalt himself above all gods. Verse 38, but in his estate he shall honor the God of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not, listen to this, knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God. Strange God. If you were to look that up, it may even describe it as an alien God. Not necessarily meaning Martian, but meaning like whatever this God is, it's strange. It's not what you would think. It's not a God that you may have known. So keep an eye on that, because I really think part of the lie that God's going to send, the great deception on the people so that they believe the lie, is going to have something to do with this. And I think it's going to have something to do with science and, this whole, spaceship deception stuff. Thus shall he do most strongholds with strange God, whom shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of the hand, even Edom and Moab, the chief of the children of Ammon. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt, and Libya and Ethiopia shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas of a glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. And that is the end of chapter 11. He's obviously going to have some opposition. According to the book of Daniel, there's going to be the couple of kings, one from the east and one from the north, that are going to cause him trouble. So it's not like, we think of this, this beast is going to rise up. and it's going to be more terrible than any beast that's ever existed, according to the prophet Daniel, and according to Revelation 13 and other scriptures in the Bible. But it's not going to have complete control over everything. There's going to be some resistance. We could speculate on where the resistance comes from. I'm going to do a podcast soon talking more about this last day kingdom, so you can get an idea of where it's likely located, what it's likely made up of, and talk more about Mystery Babylon. And I still, after much study and praying and fasting and everything, I'm still on the same page that I was before I started the study. And the page I'm talking about is, I believe, the United States is likely the beast. Or, I mean, not the beast, but the harlot that rides the beast. And the same thing with the timelines and everything I've talked about. I think on Thursday we're going to talk more about Revelation timelines, because I don't think, I think people read it in chronological order, and it's not. So we're going to be talking about some things that Jesus says in correlation with some of the seals, and then when God's wrath actually takes place, and, what to expect. And so we're digging through that study. And so that's probably what I'm going to be talking about on Thursday. So I've already got things bookmarked to go. So odds are that is what we'll be talking about. So make sure you tune in for that, because we're going to be talking a lot about end times timelines, and everybody loves a good timeline, right? So we'll be addressing some things that Jesus says in the book of Mark, Revelation 6, Revelation 7, and so forth and so on. That's the plan for the Thursday podcast. Only one more chapter to read out of the book of Daniel, which we'll do next Tuesday. And then the following Tuesday, we're going to read the 2 chapters that are in the Septuagint. And I'm going to tell you guys where you can find a copy of the Septuagint, the one that I'm using, and what the Septuagint is, and all of that information. So I hope this podcast is blessing you. If it is, I'd love to hear about it. I want to thank those of you who've been contributing lately. Several of you have been generous with donations, and I think we've added a couple subscribers to the Patreon account. At least one that I know for sure. Yeah, we've got a total of 8 Patreons, and I think we had 7 just a couple of weeks ago. So thank you to those of you who are just blessing me. I really, really appreciate that. And like I said, it eases my burden. And so I just want to say thank you and take this opportunity to say thank you. Please hit the like button, hit that share button if you enjoyed the podcast. And I'll be with you in a couple of days. That's all I've got today. Peace and grace be with all of you. God bless.